This Mercedes 220e is my nemesis. This car has been left here disintegrating, abandoned, sat on axle stands for a few years at this point. What makes it even worse is it's been left in this condition by me, outside my own house. This car is my nemesis because it just always got the better of me. It was the car I've never been able to fix. But all of that changes right now in this video, because I am about to pour my heart, soul, blood, sweat, tears, wallet, sanity into this car in order to achieve three main goals. I need to get this car running, driving, and road legal. And from where I'm stood right now, I'll be honest with you, that challenge seems insurmountable because, well, just look at it. Mate, that's not even the worst by far. Wait until you feast your eyes on the atrocities that have occurred inside this engine bay. Ugh. So much worse than I remember. All right, so fundamentally what we've got here is the Mercedes M111.960 engine. It's a inline four-cylinder petrol engine, 2.2 litres, puts out about 150 brake horsepower. But this one is unique in the sense that it's clearly missing half of the components. So you're supposed to have an inlet manifold in here, throttle body, that's all missing. Load of other bits and bobs are missing, hoses, pipes, and you'll notice that there's all these carrier bags and stuff going on. Well, what's that about? To be honest, I'd forgotten I'd done it. I'm glad that I had the foresight to do it though, and that's me plugging up the holes in the cylinder head. I've got a rubber glove in there, I've got a plastic bag in there, plugging it all up so that prevent as much moisture from getting into the engine and these components as possible, and also mice and, you know, critters and rodents and things like that. Now, one of the other big things that is missing from this engine bay is the wiring harness. This car has got no engine wiring harness currently fitted. It's also missing an ECU. So where have all of these components gone? Why is the engine half disassembled? How did the car come to be sat on axle stands like this? Well, I first started filming this video in 2022, back when this car was complete, the bodywork was in great condition, and it had 4 wheels. You're about to see the beginning of this video, footage from 2022. This car was at my old place, at my old house. People who have been around here a little while will recognise it. Things are going to look a little bit different. I've certainly got less greys in my beard. I look a little bit more youthful, but it is the beginning of this story. We're going to go back there and then we'll reconvene back here in 2025. So this car is a non-runner. I've got this problem where you turn the car on, it runs for about a minute, and then every single time it will just cut out after a minute. I've done quite a lot of diagnosing work on this car already. You know, I've tested fuel pressure, I've tested to see if it's actually got spark, I've cleaned out, you know, the throttle body. You can unplug and plug back in the airflow mass meter thing. There doesn't seem to be any issue there. I've changed the coolant temperature sensor, I've changed the crankshaft sensor, all of these things that, you know, people have suggested to me, and I just cannot get to the root of the problem. It's just so obvious to me that before I go any further trying to diagnose anything, I need to get this wiring sorted. Upon first glance, nothing seems particularly untoward with the wiring. You know, it is all neat, you know, it's in its factory location, but when you get close up, it starts revealing itself. So if you check out this cable here, so this goes from the airflow massy meter thing over there. So you just follow this wire back. This is where it starts getting real interesting. So right there underneath my finger, that is bare wire. That's completely bare wire. A lot of this is wrapped in electrical tape already, but you can see right here, so there's all the insulation for the wires. and on that side, and then right there in the middle, bare wire. And it's not just there on that one particular cable. I mean, if I just start moving stuff around here, so you can see right down there, there's another cable. But look, the insulation, the sheathing for the cable, I'm gonna just peel some of this off. Look, there you go. That is the insulation on the cables just falling apart. Absolutely falling apart in my hands right there. And I think if I look under here as well, it's the same problem under here. So you can see where I've previously wrapped that up in tape. And there's the insulation for all the cables, and it's all just peeling off. There you go, and it's all sitting down there. Now, this is the case for the whole wiring harness on this engine. All of the wires that go directly into the coils, I mean, it's just bare wire. And you've got bare wire touching the body of the coil. Also, part of it's touching the inlet manifold. Another part is touching the wiring on the other coil. It is an absolute nightmare. So, I mean, I've probably got something in the range of, I don't know, 10,000 shorts in this car, and it's causing me some rather large problems. So now I know there's going to be a load of you that are thinking, why is the wiring on this car so horrendous? Well, it's not actually just this car. This is a very, very common occurrence with pretty much every single W124 Mercedes, whether it was a coupe, an estate, a saloon, that was built between 1991 and 1996. And so if you go onto any of the Merc forums, if you talk to a Mercedes specialist, and they know that you've got a car that is a 91 to 96 car, and you go to them with an engine issue, the very first thing that anybody says is, have you changed the wiring loom? People won't help you. Anyone that knows about these cars, they won't even begin to help you until they know that you have changed the wiring loom on this car, because it's just a problem that affects everything. You can't even begin to diagnose a single thing on these cars when you've just got wires literally shorting out all over the place. So that means the absolute first thing that I need to do is I need to get this wiring harness out of the car. So the whole intake manifold is off, and all the injectors and all of that gubbins. But just check this out. This is one of the injector coil. What's it called? Coil. This is one of the coils. Look, and you can see those wires there. That's just bare wire. They're the two wires going into the coil, and they're just touching, because look. Again, the insulation for the cables just peels off. So this is what I'm dealing with. This is why I'm going to these lengths now of pulling this whole wiring harness out before actually trying to diagnose anything else, because yeah, that's going that's going pow, 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 and it's going So really all that should be left to do is to pull this plug out of the ECU. But the ECU gods appear to be frowning on me at the minute. Why on earth? Why does this always happen? There's always just one thing you think, it'd be really easy. It's just a plug in a computer. You just pull the plug in the computer out. But no. I don't want to pull too hard, obviously, because they're the pins to the ECU connector in there. So, you just pull it back like that, and then, oh, donut. What a donut. Got there in the end. That was more hassle than I ever thought it was going to be. And we're back. So I removed the wiring loom, then I moved house, other things got in the way, and the project just got kind of pushed to the side for a bit. There's more to the story, but I do have the wiring loom right here. Let's take a look at this because this is just unbelievable. This is the plug that goes into the ECU. Now I have removed the housing from this just to get a better look at what was actually going on inside. You can see where it's all cracked. Look at that, look, it's all cracked. And what it's doing is it's just exposing bare wire absolutely everywhere. And it's just the same throughout the entire wiring loom. Look at that there. That there is an absolute tangle of just bare wire all touching one another. You can see where all of the sheathings come off, and it's coming off in my hands right now. Look, it just flakes off. It's just gone completely and utterly brittle. Look, there you go. Look, there's a bit that's just come off in my hand there. This is absolutely wild. And this is the issue that plagues so many of these cars. Now, these cars are built like absolute tanks. You still see them, don't you, on TV in Africa, in the desert, in the Sahara, still going strong, still running, you know, taxis that have got 1 million miles on them. But the Achilles heel of these cars is this wiring loom. So my big hope here is that simply replacing this wiring loom is the big step that I need to take in order to get this car running. But it's not quite as simple as that, because this car has yet another massive problem that I've got to overcome. And to see this bit, we have to go back now to 2023, when the car first arrived here, when I thought I was going to pick the project back up again, get going with it, only to discover this. This is the ECU. Completely and utterly filled with water. Oh, it's gone brown. It's gone brown. Okay, and now we're fully back in the present day. So the big question is, why did it take me so long still to do this? Well, you need to know that I'm not a mechanic. I've never really worked on one of these cars before. I started this YouTube channel to learn how to work on cars. Now, at the time, I thought it'd be a great idea to learn car wiring by making my own wiring harness for this car. And then life just got in the way. I got really busy, became a full-time YouTuber, became a dad for the first time. I've got another kid on the way, lots and lots going on. I just never managed to find the time to teach myself or to make a wiring loom. So it got pushed back. I know I promised that I'd make my own wiring loom to some of you. I'm gonna have to break that promise. I'm sorry, sue me, whatever. Don't sue me, that was a joke. This is just entertainment. Don't sue me. What I've done is I've bought a wiring loom for this car. I've bought an ECU. It's still not going to be plain sailing though, especially with the ECU stuff, which we will get onto. But where I have to actually start with this car now is I need to get it out of this kind of immediately disgusting condition. And I'm going to do something I don't normally do on these cars this early on, but this needs a good old jet wash. We need to get rid of all of this mold, all of this junk, and get this car looking semi-decent before we go any further. I love washing cars too. It's my favourite thing. Oh, I love it. So bad that I let it get like this. Can't believe it. What was I thinking? Well, I wasn't, clearly. I wasn't thinking, that was the problem. I've also got the world's tiniest jet wash. But you have to make do with what you've got, right? Oh no, Mrs. is gonna kill me. Just absolutely nailed the back door with dirt. Oh Jesus Christ, she's gonna see that in a minute. She's gonna see that. She's gonna see that in a minute. We just had the windows cleaned. Oh no. I'm in so much trouble, it's unbelievable. Oh no. And so you might be looking at this bonnet and looking at all this flaking. The lacquer is flaking off of this car, and it's going to come off now when I jet wash it good and proper. This bonnet was painted by a previous owner, clearly not very well. The owner didn't paint it, had it painted. Hasn't been done very well. It needs completely redoing, so I'm not too concerned about what's about to happen to it. So this will get done. Not in this video, but it will get done. Poor Land Cruiser. That car's coming back to life soon. I know people are going to wonder. Been buying parts. But then I've been buying parts for this car for 3 years, so. Okay, that is so much better. So much better. I did get in the bonnet as well. I got in here just as much as I really wanted to. Obviously I was a little bit trying to be as careful as possible because there's still, you know, the ECU's exposed and there's holes in the engine still, of course. Sorry, where am I? I'm not even in shot, am I? Yeah, it's a lot cleaner. Obviously it's not the final detail, and also while I was jet washing it just then, I was just studying the car and just looking at it a lot. I love these cars. I think these 90s Mercedes, for me, are just the best cars. I think there's something super cool about this, and I cannot believe it's taken this long for me to try and get this thing back on the road. Right, we now need to turn our attention to mechanicals and electricities. Let's start by taking out all of these plastic bags, and I do hope it actually did something, because if it didn't, it means that the inside of this engine is probably rusted up. Now I can just about see in there, I can see the valves. Looks all right, if I'm honest. That's good news. That one wasn't doing anything. Oh, there's just so much stuff in here. Like there's this, I think that's the throttle cable, but there's all these hoses that are just hanging, and can't for the life of me remember how anything went. It was, what, 3 years ago now, basically, that I did all of this. I've got no instructions, no anything, but let's just have a look around. It shouldn't be too difficult. A lot of the time when you do work like this, it's kind of self-explanatory. Once you start offering the components back up, you go, oh, okay, well that goes there, that can go there, but all of this is unplugged up there as well. I can't, what was even there? Oh, there's a thing missing from there. Oh, I don't know. So one of the things I actually want to do is I want to just make sure that the engine hasn't locked up. I just want to make sure no moisture did get in and the engine isn't locked up. Now, I just tried to get some sockets in there, but it's where the crank sprocket is, it's almost impossible to actually get anything in there. So I think if I just resort to trying to turn, what's that, the power steering and the alternator down here, just try and spin it with this belt. Oh, phone. Ah, look, There you go, it's spinning, look. That's great news. The engine is not locked up. I can see the valves moving. Right, sorry, I'm coming. Hello? So here is the inlet manifold. And I'm assuming... What did I do? Did I take off... It's probably best to put the wiring loom in first, isn't it? Because I took this off to get the wiring loom out. So... okay. Bigger, oh yes, got you. Come on then, you piglet. Oh. Uh-oh. Shit. Oh no, that is not good. That is really not good. First job, and we're in trouble. That is the crankshaft position sensor. Now I'm removing this because I do remember that I was having problems with these all of that time ago. I'm pretty sure I fitted the incorrect one. This wasn't actually the right one. It fits in there, but it's not correct. But there's this metal sleeve that sits on the outside of there. And I've just managed to finally pull this out, but it's left the metal sleeve behind. Why don't you focus now? Focus. Son of a... It's actually in that hole. Oh. How on... Oh no, it's seized in. My very first job on this car. You couldn't make it up. You could not make it up. Oh, why did I bother even starting this car? I knew this was going to be trouble. Ah. There it is, got it out. A little bit of heat in the end solved everything. I had to be really careful because there's a load of cables and plastic hoses right near where the flame went, but I think I avoided any extra pain and misery there. Okay, that's good news. What I will do though is I'm gonna have to make sure that I grease the new crank position sensor that goes in there nicely so that that doesn't seize in there again. Okay, we're gonna actually get on. And here is the new sensor, and I know this one is absolutely correct. It's got the right Mercedes part number on it, second hand, but it's from a reputable parts company here in England. There we go. So let's very quickly talk about new wiring loom. This thing's lovely, absolutely lovely. And because these cars have such a problem with their wiring looms, there are quite a few different companies, I believe, that sell replacement wiring looms. But these guys are called Kurth Classics Auto Parts out of Germany. Not sponsored or anything, I bought this with my own money. They set me back about £750, I think, all in, once you account for import duty and all of that as well. And you can see it's just very professionale made. It's all absolutely looks correct. I held it up to the other one. All the connectors look correct, of the right length. It's just good to go, and it's not made of any kind of biodegradable material. Now, what's really cool about this, something to note, is that it very much looks as though these guys have reverse engineered a load of these really hard to find connectors. So I know from when I was thinking about making my own wiring loom that you just can't get some of these connectors at all, and I was going to have to try and repurpose the ones that are on there. like I said, these guys look like they've reverse engineered them. Look, you can see they've got their logo on it, and these are all, you know, quite complex things. Even this ECU, you know, this ECU connector is Kurth's got their logo on it, and it's remanufactured, re-engineered, and their own thing. There's quite a few of them on here, so you know, that's quite cool. That's one of the reasons I went with these guys. It kind of really seems as though they know their stuff if they're going into that kind of detail. And then all new, and then some of these are actual genuine Merc connectors and that. But so I think the thing to do is to kind of just get this into the engine base, start setting it out, probably just start plugging it in and just working it out as I go. There's not really anything for it. Now, one of the big things that I'm worried about here is that, well, it's almost 1 p.m, but if you look at this, you can see that from tomorrow onwards it's just rain forevermore. So that's going to be a problem. So see how far we get today. We've got the last of the good weather, but it might well be that we have to get some wheels on this car and take it to the workshop just so that I can actually get this job done in time, I suppose, or I can get this job just done. You obviously need to get in there because you are the ECU connector. So obviously it doesn't fit through, so now I'm going to have to feed every single plug through from this side individually. Fine, whatever. Yep, that's it. Okay. Right, I've made some headway. So what I've done is I've threaded through the wiring loom and just kind of started offering it up to all of the different sensors and the places where I think it ought to go. Now, I've done all of this with the inlet manifold off because the next task is to actually get the inlet manifold in and then work out where the cables route around that. But I was just trying to work out which plug goes with which sensor or socket and all that sort of stuff. And I think I've pretty much worked it out. Now, what I also did with the inlet manifold is I came in here and I cleaned up the mating surface on the cylinder head and also on the inlet manifold. That's just using a bit of Scotch-Brite really to take off just a load of the deposits and the dirt and the grime and the goo and the gunk and the poo that was all kind of left on it. That inlet manifold is stored in the dry, so that hasn't been an issue. Anyway, all the cables are now, you know, where I think they should go. Nothing kind of looks too wrong, so you know, nothing looks too wrong. High degree of confidence. Yeah, it's all kind of in. I was using contact cleaner to spray down a load of the sensors and the exposed connections that were in this engine bay. That seems to have done a nice job, and yeah, I think it's all kind of there, to be honest with you. So here's the thing, I've got this is the kind of cable guide. This opens up and the wiring loom, it fits inside it, and this routes it around the engine bay, and this kind of, I can't remember exactly where it goes, but I think it kind of sits there like that. I can't remember exactly where this goes. I think it kind of sits in there somehow. So that's going to be the next hurdle, along with now getting the inlet manifold on here. That is my next task. Let's get this inlet manifold in now and then actually try and suss out Oh, I'll tell you what else I've got as well. I've got a sub harness. I forgot to say that came with the wiring loom as well. That's sub harnesses for the coils. And oh yeah, I have new coils. I've got some Hella coils. So this car doesn't have on-plug coils like a lot of modern cars. It's kind of got its own whole separate unit. It looks like a pyramid. So that's cool. But yeah, they're hella good. Did I say I got a new manifold gasket? No? Well, I have. Go on, in you go. Yep. Okay. But that doesn't mean anything. This is gonna be tricky, working out where everything goes. Everything goes. What I should have done is taken like loads of photos. If you think I'm inexperienced now, you should have seen me back then. Okay. Ooh. Right, where do you go? So, although it may not look it necessarily, wearing the same outfit, I think, it's about 5 days later. It has done nothing but rain and rain and rain and rain. But today is okay-ish, and I've made some really, really good progress. Let me show you in here. So the vast majority of this engine is now back in place. So you'll notice that what I have got missing here, so the throttle body sits in there. So I removed that because it gave me so much more access to everything. It was a massive, massive help. But you can see, although it's kind of not all plugged in, it just needs plugging in. Everything is routed now properly. That goes into the throttle body, so that's why that's not plugged in. Everything is kind of back in. I've got my brand new coils there, so I've got one coil there, one coil there. You see I've got all my injectors in there. I kind of cleaned the injectors, just externally I cleaned the injectors. I cleaned all in the inlet manifold ports, and so, you know, I did go through it quite a lot. You'll see that we've still got the fuel hose, that's the return, I believe, that's the return, and then we've got the inlet for the fuel. That's still disconnected. That's still disconnected for a very good reason that we're going to get onto in a second. And you can see here, look, here's all my vacuum lines that I've plugged in. They're all kind of in there now. Apart from this one that goes on the throttle body, that's obviously not in there. The throttle cable is installed. All my grounds, you've got your grounds that go into there. That's all jolly, that's all well, that's all good. This has been, honestly, it's not been too bad. I was really, really nervous about doing this because it was so long ago that I took it all apart. And so what I need to do in here as well, there's a cap that fits all on this on this, I don't know what you call this carrier type thing. So that seals all that in, but you can see this new wiring loom fits into the carrier really quite nicely. All the cables are routed, they're routed properly. That goes out that hole down there. But yeah, that's looking quite good, to be honest with you. So why is the fuel in and the fuel out still disconnected? Well, the fuel out, that could be connected, but it's the inlet here that I'm really concerned about. Now, this car has been parked up since, what, 2022? And that means, of course, that we're dealing with almost 4-year-old fuel at this point. I don't want the fuel, I'm not sure how much is even in the tank. I cannot remember. What I don't want to do is have 4-year-old fuel that could be varnished and whatever else, going all the way through the system, into the injectors, and just giving me a load of aggro and grief until you've basically consumed it all. It's going to block up the injectors, it's just not going to be good. I just don't want old fuel in this engine, especially as I try and get this car going again, and if there's any more diagnosis that needs to be done. So what I want to do now, so I've pulled out the, what's it in the jig? This is the fuel pump relay. It sits down here. It's very difficult to see, which is why I'm not showing you in there. Well, it's not that difficult. I can put you in there in a sec. It's just a relay socket. You've seen a relay socket, surely? No? Sure. Down in there, look, there's a relay socket. That's where that fuel pump relay goes. And so my plan is to jumper that fuel relay, to get the pump to run continuously before we try starting the car or anything. And then I'm going to stick this end of the fuel pipe into a can or a bottle or something, and we get, oh no, I've got a canister. I'm just going to try and pump all of the fuel that's in the tank out. Now, of course, it does mean that fuel is then going to go through the fuel filter, and it might gum the fuel filter up. But to be honest with you, I'm probably going to replace the fuel filter at some point anyway. And I don't have a siphon or anything to get into the tank through the fuel cap and pump fuel out that way. So this is kind of the best way for me to do it. Hopefully this goes well, but I do need to make a quick jumper cable to go in there and power the fuel pump continuously. So actually I had this grand plan to get some proper connectors and make myself up a nice little cable and plug it in nice and safe. But actually all I'm going to do is just jam a bit of bloody focus. It's just a wire. Maybe if I that's how you make it focus. A bit of wire in there, because I've left my connectors at the workshop. Now, one of the questions I get asked all the time by people when they see these videos with me working here at home, because I do have a workshop if you're new here, and I've got a 2-post lift. One of the questions I always get is, why aren't you at the workshop? And usually, a number of reasons. Currently, right now, the reason that I'm doing this here and not at the workshop is because there's something stuck on the lift in the workshop. This time around, it's the Bentley. So the Bentley's there at the workshop, stuck on the lift, so I couldn't get this on there if I wanted. And also, these cars, they often get delivered here to my house first. This one's obviously been here a while, and I don't want to have to pay for another load of transport. If I've already paid to have it transported here, I don't want to have to pay again to have it taken from here to the workshop. I'd rather just kind of get the car running and drive it to the workshop myself. And also, I really enjoy being at home. I've got the missus and my little boy in there, and we have lunch, and just, you know, it can be really nice to work from home. That's literally it. It's, you know, there's no great conspiracy or anything like that. But I thought I'd just clear that up, because some of you seem to have such a issue with it. Like, really? Why are you in the workshop? Get in there, come on. Right, so you can see that I've got my fuel canister perched precariously in there like that. Well, my battery down here, I thought this battery was in the workshop. I thought this fit. It doesn't actually fit, it's too big, so we are going to have to go and get a new battery sooner rather than later. I think what I'm going to do just for now is just going to connect my battery terminals up like this with some jump leads that were in the van. Seems like maybe the best way to do it. I'm not sure. And so my jumper cable's in there, so I'm hoping that when I do connect this up, the fuel pump kicks in. Now I don't know if it's actually ECU controlled or anything like that, and it still needs, because we don't have an ECU in here, do we? We're getting onto that as well in a minute, or in a bit, because that's just going to be a whole world of pain. I already know that. Anyway, let's just try doing this, shall we? See what happens. It's going to blow up. Nada. Nothing happens. Key in the ignition, maybe that would help, wouldn't it? Right, ignition's on. Now it could blow up. Is this going to work? Nothing. Oh, I was so sure this was going to work. I thought it was going to run. I thought my fuel pump was going to run. Why not? Pins 30 and 87 to run, yeah? Yeah. Oh.
Hello everyone, and nice to have you back.
This is what I do. I spend the vast majority of my time just watching YouTube videos of other people successfully completing their repairs.
Right behind me is...
And then I work out how to do it from that. Might have to abandon this whole idea. Maybe I just don't have a good connection or something like that. I mean, I can't help but wonder really if just probably needs the ECU plugged in and all of that, doesn't it, to get that to work. So let's revisit the drain in the fuel thing in a minute. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to get everything completed now. I'm going to hook up the fuel, at least the fuel return and stuff, put the throttle body back in, and then we'll go from there. I'm only going to be a minute doing that. There's only a couple of things that need fixing in. So come back in a sec, right? Come back in a sec. I mean, I'll be back in a sec. I'll be back in a sec. Right, and that, ladies and gents, after almost 4 years of being completely disassembled, is the engine now reassembled. Yeah. All good then. So, I do believe we need to take a look at this whole ECU situation. But it's going to rain, isn't it? It's just about to absolutely smash it now. Just a quick question. How would you like to be in with the chance of winning my, quite frankly, lovely Porsche 911 Carrera 4? Well, if you're in the UK, you can do just that. There is a link in the description below this video where you can enter the competition to be in with a chance of winning. Tickets cost 99p and 10% of all of the take-ins are going to Make-A-Wish Foundation UK. So we've got the opportunity to do something really good here. As ever, any tickets you buy also helps fund the channel. It helps keep sponsors off the channel, and I really do appreciate the support. The competition closes midnight, New Year's Eve 2025. So someone's going to win this and hopefully help combat any January blues that you might have. But you've got to be in it to win it. So go into the link in the description, buy yourself a ticket, 99p, happy days. So no sooner had I stopped recording and the heavens opened again, started raining, and it got dark instantly. It gets dark at 3:30 at the moment, which is just absolutely mental. So what I want to... it's like orange. It's just orange. What I want to talk about right now is the ECU. Right. This is the ECU that came out of this car, the one that you saw that was completely filled with water. So what I've done is I've sent this ECU off to 3 separate firms here that do ECU testing and repair. 3 of the big companies that a lot of people would know, and they all came back one after the other just saying no, it's completely irreparable, it's just done for, which is a real shame. But I did manage to find a second-hand replacement ECU on eBay. Now this cost me, so this, I bought this at the time when this went bad. It should be the same part number. Yeah, it's exactly the same. So I did manage to find another one. This is second-hand on eBay. This was 345 quid. So they're not the cheapest things, but I think it could have been a lot worse. Now, I have spoken to a couple of Mercedes specialists, and I've done a lot of research, and the jury is out with whether you can just, even though they've got the same part number, the jury is completely out as whether you can just swap these over. I've seen in the forums some people saying that you can just get the new ECU, put it in, and everything's golden. Because this car is, you know, quite old. What is this, a 1993? It wasn't as complex with stuff back then. So I've seen people say, yeah, they just put a new ECU in their car and all was dandy. And then I've seen other people in the forum saying no, they needed theirs coded in. And I've spoken to a couple of specialists who have both seemed convinced that this is going to need coding into the car, which is going to represent a massive problem, because I currently don't have any software or computers or anything to actually do that with, and I don't know anyone who's got one either. I've been asking around. No one seems to have the equipment at the minute to be able to do this job. But what I've also been told is that I should be able to plug this ECU in and run the car in a limp mode. It should fire the car. I'm not sure exactly what the limp mode is. It might be that you can't rev the car past 2,000 RPM, 3,000 RPM, something like that. But for what we're about to do, I should be able to just plug this in and get something, just kind of anything out of this car. That's my grand hope here. I definitely don't mix these up. That's that one. So the ECU sits right in there. That there is the ABS ECU. It sits behind it, the main engine ECU. Now, what I can only assume, so you can see what I've done here, is I've pulled off the bit of trim that fits in there like that. Sorry, someone's doing some jackhammering. All I can assume is that the water has gone down behind this piece of trim, so it would have gone down past this seal, and then has essentially just come down there and then dripped into the ECU over a time. It looks like this seal on here is bad, and I've only just discovered this now. I don't have a new seal or anything, but even when you get that into place properly and actually put it in there, it doesn't seal up to the windscreen. So I'm not entirely sure. Now, there is obviously this junk that's in there, but what's not really preventing it from doing much. It's only a tiny little bit. I will clean all that out though in a sec, get all of that out there. But I think what I might have to do, just as a real temporary fix, is to kind of just get this in position like this, get it all back in there, and then just get some sealant and just seal right the way along the top there. It won't be pretty, but for our purposes right now it should do the job just fine, because I'd rather have to deal with a load of sticky mess in here, you know, in a few weeks time, than have water drip through and then have to buy another ECU for £345. Another thing is that I think this windscreen's going to have to come out at some point anyway, because if you come down here you can see that it's actually got quite a nice crack in it, and then down here it actually looks like it's delaminating. You can see it all down there, so it does need a new screen. So look, that's how it's supposed to fit. This side is sealed up nicely. While we're on the topic of screens, look, you can see this rear screen is also just delaminating, and I was told by a windscreen guy basically that there's nothing you can do about that other than replace the screen. So it looks like this car is going to need a rear screen and a front screen. Right, I'm not going to, it all fastens in there properly with a plate and everything. I'm not going to do that just yet, because who knows how many times I might need to pull it out and get back in there again. So I'll fasten it all down properly shortly. But I did also go and get a battery. I popped to Halfords to get a new one. Hopefully got the right size. So ECU is in, battery is in. I've still got my fuel pump jumpered. I can see it. I just saw it at the corner of my eye. So I need to catch the fuel. Where did I? No, I can't get it in there. Hold on, wait. Aha, way more suitable for this. For now, just to see if that actually does pump fuel out. I hope this is the inlet anyway. It's not the return. Yeah, the ignition's on, so I'm hoping if I touch this now to the battery, at least the fuel pump will kick in and we'll see fuel in here. I hope. No. Although there is something happening, I can hear throttle body. So nothing's happening. Right, can't hear the fuel pump or anything. So I'm wondering if the fuel pump's gone bad now. Great. Right, so what I've got going on here is the fuel pump is down in this section underneath the car. There's a heat shield, not a heat shield, a plastic shield covering it. Gonna get that off first, and then what I want to do is I want to get to the fuel pump and just kind of see if it's got electricity getting to it, you know, if it's got 12 volts or not. I've got to get this cover off though. Doing it blind, or trying to do it blind. Okay, and here's the fuel pump. The fuel pump's over there, and this is the fuel filter. So it's not too bad to change actually, if I do need to get in there and change it. Okay, so I've got the fuel pump jumpered to simulate it running constantly, so it should be getting electricity down here. There's no clean earth. Okay, well, I'm getting 12 volts down to the fuel pump, and it is not running. Let's see if I can hit it and the old bash the fuel pump to see if it's working. No. Oh, so I think the fuel pump's gone kaput. Great news really, because I don't have another. Cool. Oh, damn it. I just didn't think that, I don't know why I didn't think the fuel pump would be bad. Where can I get a fuel pump? Did I have another one? What happened to the one that was on the 944? No. It's the same style of pump, but that obviously went with the car. Did I have another? I think I had two. Is it at the workshop? I don't know where that would be. Actually, I wonder if Bianca's got one. Can they get them? I wonder. Do I have to pull this off though to get a part number? Or can't be bothered. So I had this problem before, my Porsche 944. The pump just gets really warm, but without doing anything, you kind of got a very good idea at that point that it actually is kaput. Oh. Oh, there we go. Oh, that smells bad. It smells very varnishy already. It's only been in there a couple of years, but it's amazing how quickly it can just all go bad. Ta-da! Pulled the pump out now. You see it's just covered in grime. Just trying to get at the part number there. Right, Bianca. I need to give you this, no messing around, I need to give you a fuel pump, well, my car, do you know the Merc? Do you want the reg for the car, or do you want the part number off the pump?
Part number of the pump. What the hell?
Right, so it's a Bosch.
It is.
Bianca,
Oh,
are you concentrating?
yeah. I've just my walking sticks turned up.
0580.
Let's put these in the fridge.
Yeah?
Yeah?
254. Yeah?
Yeah.
950. Now I know you can get these for 20 quid. Genuine Bosch. And I can get one today.
You can?
I can get one today for 20 quid from Euro Car Park.
Shut up. I can actually. They would be able to get you on today. To be fair, a Bosch
They
one.
would.
Yeah.
Oh, why not just call them?
Yeah. Well, could just rang them.
Have you got them?
No.
You don't have them.
No.
You can't get them.
Yeah.
You can get them.
Yeah. Today, I just said that. That's literally what I just said. I literally just said they can get them today.
You can get one today.
Ask your YouTube channel back. Say, did I say that you could get one today? And then see what they say. And I bet they say, yes, you did say you could get one today.
Well, you know I've got hearing problems.
Yeah, well, so
No,
have
I
I
thought you
actually.
meant Euro car parts could get one today.
What?
Oh, right. How much is this?
Where's this
Bianca.
night? 120.
How much? How much?
120
120
plus that.
plus that. Ah, what? Okay, and then the fuel filter as well.
I tell you what, there's one that comes in, you might be kind of west.
Oh, I don't have the part number.
Oh, I need to mention. Oh, we have that one.
You do?
They've got one. How much did I say on the fuel pump?
£60.
What did I actually say? Tenner on the fuel filter.
Tenner?
Hmm.
Oh, sign me up. So I can get these today, yeah? 4:45, so it's 11 a.m. now. Great. Okay, right, it is what it is. Okay, fine.
So I've got something you bored me. I'll get off
Thanks.
today.
Thanks for your help.
Yeah.
Bye bye. So of course something that I can do is actually try now and drain as much of the fuel out of the tank as possible. And really I should have done, this is how I could have done it before. I was saying, oh, I was going to pump it up into the engine bay. But really I can just put this feed pipe and the pump into this canister now, can't I? Let off my clamp. Okay, so the tank is basically completely empty. It is yet another new day, and I've had a bit of a fiasco. So I ordered the new pump from Bianca, and the pump turned up and it is completely and utterly wrong. So the pump that I've been sent looks like this. It's completely wrong. It's way thinner, different fittings, all sorts of stuff. That's the pump that I took off the car. You can see they're wildly different, and you couldn't even make it work because of the way you need to screw in. They don't work. Now, this isn't the fault of Bianca in the slightest. There is something going on when you put this part number into the system. I don't know if it's a shared system that all the parts places use, but when you put this part number in, it brings up that pump. It shows all the images for this pump. It looks exactly like that, but they all actually give you that pump with a different part number. It's very strange. I phoned a couple of the other parts places and it was all just the same deal. They've all just given me the wrong part number. None of the high street parts places can get me the right pump. Right. Now, so what I did do though is I went to the workshop, because I remember I said I had an inkling that I had one, and I had this in the workshop. Now I can't for the life of me remember what car I took this off of. All I know is that I did, and I'm assuming I kept it around because it works. You can see I just snipped the cables off of it. It's unbranded, there's no brand on it, there's not even a proper part number on it, but it looks absolutely identical to the one I took off. So what I'm going to do in the meantime is I'm just going to try and fit this one that I found in the workshop. What I have done is I have ordered the actual correct one off of eBay, and it looks to be the correct one, but I don't know when it's going to turn up. Obviously it's mail order, so you know, if you ever wonder why it takes me so long to get videos out, it's because it can take you days just to get simple parts. But in the meantime, let's fit this and just hope that this still works. It must still work, otherwise I'm sure I wouldn't have kept it around. But the fuel filter was correct though. That came, brand new fuel filter. That looks absolutely identical to the one that I took off the car. So I'll fit the new fuel filter and this other second-hand pump. New filter and newish pump all fitted in. That wasn't too bad at all. And there is, of course, a load of you wondering to yourself now, why didn't I test the pump before I put it on the car to see if it does work? And there's obviously a very, very good reason for that, and it's simply that I forgot. But I am eternally optimistic, and I hope it works. And if not, I'll just have to change it, won't I? I'll just have to get it in there and do all the work again. So I'm very much hoping that that was all of the fuel drained out of the tank. Why is that so tight? So what I'm going to do now is just jam a load of fresh fuel in, basically. Some of you will be pleased to know that I have a form of nozzle. Still not the correct one for the can, but it's better than nothing. A load of fresh fuel in there. What's in here? 20 litres. So if there is anything still in the tank, this will hopefully help dilute it. Okay, so you can see we've still got this fuel rail inlet pipe plumbed into this bottle because there could still be fuel in this pipe from the pump up to here, old fuel, so I want to pump that out so it doesn't go into the injectors. ECU's in, my fuel relay is still jumpered, there's the actual relay, the socket down there is jumpered. So this really is the moment of truth now. I'm hoping when I connect this battery, the fuel pump runs and we see fuel going into that bottle. I really hope, oh, nearly, I just dropped it there. Right, please, 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 please do something. Yes, look at that. Okay, it pumped a load of fuel through and I can hear the pump running. Ah, there you go. Ah, result. Absolute result. Look at that colour of that. Okay, I'm just going to let it go just a little bit. Okay, that's a good amount of fuel. Is it fuel or is it urine? It smells a little bit varnished, but it's actually just largely, that is largely fresh fuel, I think. It's very yellow, isn't it? Yeah. So, I think finally after, what, almost 4 years, I'm finally ready to turn the key, crank the engine and see what, if anything, happens. If this car fires, well, if the car starts, I'll just be ecstatic. I'll be ecstatic. And so as a quick reminder, I've never had this car running. When I very first bought this car, well, I'd had it running a little bit. The main symptom of this car was you'd turn the key, the engine would crank over, it would start and would run for about 30 seconds and then it would always just cut out. I never got to the bottom of it. That was why we changed the wiring loom. So if this car starts, that would be amazing. And if it runs for basically longer than 30 seconds, I'll consider that a massive goal. And then we'll go from there. Oh, I'm very nervous. I'm so nervous. Right. I've got absolutely no idea what to expect. I've just found this in the car. So this car used to be parked out on the road. And I've just remembered I put that in the window. No point trying to steal me. I don't work. Okay, so there's nothing for it now but to turn this key, see what happens. This is always so nerve-wracking. I don't know what it is about this part. It's always so nerve-wracking. Well, it's because you want your work to come to fruition, right? Okay. Fuel pump, primed. Come on. Just looking for any leaks. The revs are very high. I know there's oil in the engine, so. Right, we're at 2,000 RPM. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if it's going to settle. Right, settle down, settle down, settle down. I wonder actually if it's where I think it's where I've reconnected the throttle cable. Needs adjusting, that's what that is. Right, there's a bit of a ticking, which isn't amazing, but I think that's just injectors or something. Right, here we go. Why are you ticking? Right, we're at 1200 RPM. I'm alright like that for a minute. Maybe just take it down a little bit more. Oh, so it's not going down anymore, so okay. Right. Wow! Yes, this is the longest it's ever run for in my ownership. I've got lights on the dash, but we'll worry about that in a minute. The ABS light's on. What's ticking? What is ticking? I don't know. We'll ignore it for a minute. Right, let's just come around the back. And you can see we've got, well, condensation really. I mean, the car's been sitting that long. I imagine the exhaust is absolutely full of water. Oh no, wait. Oh no. There's stuff coming out the side of the exhaust. Oh, there's a hole in the exhaust right there. That's annoying. Maybe I can gum it up a bit though. Worry about that in a minute. I'm calling that a mild win for now. So I need to check this coolant. We're a little bit low on the old coolant, so I'll top that up before the engine gets too hot. But I'm not seeing any leaks, no fuel leaks. That's good news. No oil leaks. I can see there's nothing on the floor. There's no coolant on the floor. Oh, yes. Gosh, nothing more satisfying. There is nothing more satisfying. Okay, so I got the ticking to stop. There was a vacuum line down here that wasn't plugged in properly. That cured the ticking, whatever that was. But the idle is still high and I can't get it to go down. But you know, it has come up to temperature nicely and is idling. Still condensation coming out of the exhaust. Doesn't smell of fuel or anything, so that's great news. But now the ticking's gone, it's just kind of idling nicely. Even though it's high, it's not missing or hesitating or anything. And it's great to see this ECU works. Now, I don't know if it is in any kind of limp mode or it needs to learn stuff, or maybe I need to take it for a drive or something. I'm not entirely sure just yet, but that ECU is working and I haven't done anything to code it in. So that's great news. Whether it'll actually will drive is another matter, but I can't wait to get this car on the road. I cannot wait. Oh, and I also did top it up with coolant. And it's also worth mentioning that I did also check in the airbox to make sure there wasn't any mice in there or mouse nests or anything, so it wasn't just going to get sucked straight into the thing. Okay, fixed it. I think it was the throttle. This throttle linkage was sticking a bit. I just had a little bit of a fettle and now it's idling at about 750 RPM. You can hear the difference in the engine. Question is though really is whether I rev the engine if now the throttle linkage actually goes back to this position or it gets stuck again. And then come off and then let it settle. Oh boy! So here you can see the rev counter. Yes, fantastic. And the only light on here is the ABS light. Mildly concerned about what that might be. Okay, so let's actually talk about brakes slightly, because I just tried to put the car into drive and I pressed the throttle and a whole lot of nothing happened. In fact, the rear axle just started to shift around, and because we were on axle stands, I figured that's probably not actually the best thing to do. Now, unfortunately, for some stupid, mad reason, and I don't normally do this, but the parking brake was left on. So I can, this is just going to be seized up. I imagine the parking brake has seized up massively on here. So here's what I'm going to do. You just see me now. I've just screwed in 2 wheel bolts. I mean, if putting it in drive and putting the accelerator on didn't move it, I don't think this will. Fantastic. Great. It's probably the caliper's probably stuck on as well. I know what you're thinking. Well, I'll just replace the discs. Well, yeah. But do I have to replace the calipers as well? What do you think? How many of these calipers do you think are going to be binding? My guess is 3 out of 4. But there's no way of knowing how badly until I get the car moving. So I've got 2 options. I can take all of this apart now, like this, or I could put the wheels on and just step on the throttle. Only trouble doing that is that I could just break something else, you know, like a, don't know, CV joint, break the diff, break something. So that's not my favoured method. And one of the reasons it's not going to be fun is because that's the disc retaining screw. For some reason, they make them an Allen key. I don't know why. It's about the worst thing you could ever do, because they just round out straight away. So the big problem, and this is on all 4 corners, it's going to be getting that retaining screw out, just so I can get at least get the disc off. We also need to get the caliper off. We're going to have to assess the state of this rear cover, because I imagine in there are handbrake shoes on the inside, and they're going to fix to this. So if this is correct, right. Guess what? Yep, another new day. Do you just wear the same clothes? Yeah, pretty much. It's a new day because I went on a side quest. I had some stuff on the Bentley to finish off. I also went on a side quest to do with the brakes, so I have still done some brake related stuff. Check this out. So look, when you come in here and I turn the engine on now, I've managed to get the ABS light to go out, which is an absolute result. I was mildly panicking about that, and I found that when you are mildly panicking about something, the best thing to do is to do the thing that is stressing you out the most first. Don't leave things like that. It's like a philosophy for life, if you like. Do the difficult thing first. God, look at that, look, when it comes out of open loop, the revs settle. That's amazing. So the ABS light is off, and what I did, so no, I didn't just take the bulb out of the thing. No, I didn't. I didn't just take the bulb out. I wouldn't do that. Who am I arguing with? No, I did not take the bulb out of the dash. I promise. No, I didn't, look, because when you turn it on like this, look, you can see, well, I hope you can anyway. That's the ABS light. You can still see the bulb is in there before everyone starts going mad at me. Okay, and the way that I fix this, so you can see in here, it's just kind of hanging loose. Oh my word, it's got water dripping in it. Actually, look, you can see water dripping down behind here. I still need to fix this. You can see I have been putting this plastic sheet over the ECU, the engine ECU and the ABS. I should tuck it over this in a sec, because it's just dripping down the back there. So that's how I know as well this isn't anything to do with blocked drains or anything. But anyway, over in the back here, this thing, you can see this is what's called an OVP, which is an over voltage, oh my word, it's filling up with water as we speak. It's an over voltage protection relay. It's quite big. It sits down there in a big connector, and you can see there's a fuse on top there. Hold on, let me cover you as well. There we go. Okay, and so what I did here was I pulled that out, and the first thing that I noticed is that there's a fuse that sits on top, a blue 15 amp blade fuse. I pulled that out, and I noticed straight away that there was just loads of corrosion on it. So clearly you can see where it's been sitting there, water must have been leaking into that relay at the same time as it was leaking into the ECU. So I pulled the blade fuse out, and then I pulled the main casing off of the relay to get into the internals, into the internal gubbins of it, and I could just see that there was loads and loads of corrosion in there. Corrosion and, you know, the kind of green stuff that you get on electrical contacts. So basically all I've done is I just hit it with loads of contact cleaner, and I just cleaned all of the inside out, all of the circuitry. I took a wire brush to the terminals on the actual relay itself, and I also sprayed a load of contact cleaner into the socket, the relay socket inside the car there, and I cleaned it out. I put a new blade fuse in, and lo and behold, that ABS light is now out. And I'm just assuming that because the ABS light is now out, the ABS system actually works, which is an absolute bonus. So that's a big stress off, getting that light out, and I've now got no lights on the dash whatsoever, which is just absolutely amazing. I'm really pleased with that. So now I can actually turn our attention now back to the discs and pads on this car, and probably the calipers. I'm starting on this corner for absolutely no reason whatsoever, just chose it at random. What I want to do now is I want to pull this disc off and see what we've got lurking beneath. So like I said, my big concern is this disc retaining screw. So before I do anything, I'm just going to hit it with some fire, with absolutely no care in the world for what might be behind here, what I might be heating up, just because I'm only going to get one chance to get this off with, you know, an Allen key, before you're into just having to drill it out straight away. So I want to hit it with some heat, get any Loctite that might be on it to break off, just any rust to release. Maybe if I aim it up at least. And then what I've got here is an impact driver set that I bought. This is my current favourite tool. And so what I want to do is you want to not just kind of put your Allen key in here and then just lean on it with a wrench, because that's how I know from experience you're just going to round stuff out the easiest. The best thing for anything that looks like it might be stuck is to shock it with some force. You know what I mean? So that's basically what this does. So this thing goes in there like that, and then you get a hammer. I think ordinarily you'd want a heavier hammer than this, but this is all I've got with me. And then you're just going to go smack, and it's just going to shock it, and it's going to turn it. Oh, yeah, there we go. Yes. Uh-oh. Ah, yes. Oh, no. Yes. Oh, what a stress over with. Ah. Okay, that's good. That one's free. Oh, passenger front is not free. Oh, not free in the slightest. Oh. Oh, the car's in park. Hang on. Feels like it wants to be free. The caliper's free, but you can see something's not free. If I had to hazard a guess, I'd say something to do with the handbrake shoes. Inside here is preventing this from spinning because, look, it's clearly not the caliper. So one brake out of 4 is free. Lovely, fun. I just had a major win. So I was literally just about to start tearing all of these brakes apart. And I thought, no, hold on, wait. Because on that side, it felt, it was going ding, ding, ding. I was like, there's something, that's the handbrake court. I know that's the handbrake court. The car's in neutral. So I thought, I know, I'll come in here. Sorry. I'll come in here and I'm just going to, and I was just kind of bashing around there with this hammer on the disc. I did the same on the other side, and then I engaged and disengaged the parking brake a few times inside the car. And look, so something in that handbrake was clearly stuck on a bit because the car's been parked up, but is now free. It's exactly the same on the other side. That's just saved me a massive amount of work, having to replace all of the brakes and doing whatever else. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, yeah, I know, but they still need doing. These brakes still need doing. Look at them. Yes, they do still need doing, and I plan to. But at the exact same time, they might still not need doing. Let me explain. So yes, look, they are rusty, right? But even just rubbing my thumb on it like that makes it go a bit better. Now, what they will test for is if these discs, on the inspection, they're going to test to see if these discs, how pitted they are, how rusty they are, if there's a lip on it, how much thickness there is, and basically whether it's weakened or not. And I've been in here, I've kind of had a look at all of the connections. They look okay. The pipes all look okay. I've actually got all new hoses. I've got new discs and pads and everything, and it looks horrendous. I'll grant you that. These look absolutely horrendous. But do you remember watching the video I did on the first Porsche Cayenne that I had on the channel? If you haven't watched that video, you don't need to go and watch it right now, but here on screen is what that car looked like when I took it, when I bought it. And here is what the discs and the pads and everything look like on that car. Very, very similar to what I'm looking at here. I took that car for an inspection. Well, what I did actually is I drove that car up and down this driveway a few times, and I drove it across town to the test centre, and by the time I'd done all that and they'd tested the car and they put the car on the brake rollers, it actually passed the test. They look like this. So what I think I'm going to do now, that front one is still sticking, but I'm pretty sure there's no handbrake or parking brake on the front brake, of course. So I'm thinking, put some wheels on this car, just try and drive it forward or backward, and I think that one will come unstuck. And so there's every chance that these brakes in their current guise could pass the inspection. And what the inspection will also do, if they are bad, it's going to identify exactly which one's bad. It will tell me exactly which caliper is binding, so I don't have to just go and like replace all of them now. I only have to kind of see to the ones that are bad in order to make this car road legal. So it's going to save me a lot of work. But it does mean now we have to talk about wheels and tyres if I want to drive this car backwards and forwards. So of course the car wasn't always just sitting on axle stands. It did used to have wheels on. On screen right now are the wheels that this car used to have on it. They are fake, or they were fake BBS wheels. They weren't real BBS. And not only were they fake, but they were absolutely destroyed, pretty much beyond repair. You wouldn't want to repair them anyway because they weren't worth any money. at all. Now what happened is that I had on the channel a Mercedes W126, so an old S-Class. That car had some genuine Mercedes AMG aero wheels on it. When I sold that car, I took those wheels off and I kept them for myself. But when I sold it, obviously I needed some wheels to put on that car. So I took the wheels off of here, knowing that I never wanted to keep them, and put them on the black Mercedes so that could go away. And that is how this car come to have no wheels. But I have got something sorted, something temporary for the car. And that is a set of these Mercedes wheels off of, I don't know what, something way more modern than this car, but they fit. You'll see they are absolutely destroyed still. These are just temporary wheels. I think I got 4 of them. I can't remember now, I've had them for absolutely ages. I think I paid something like £50 for 4 wheels with these tyres on it. It was just a no-brainer at the time. When I found out that they technically fit the bolt pattern and that I needed wheels, I was just like, snap them up, and the tyres might well be okay as well to get us through the inspection. So, you know, I know that they're not the wheels that are going on this car. I've got something in the works for some proper wheels for it, but for now, to get us through the inspection, these should be just fine. It's not going to look great because I don't think these wheels suit this car, but it'll get the car road legal, and that's what this is about. Actually, scrap that just for a second. Whilst I've got the car up on axle stands and I've got some decent clearance, I just want to have a look at this exhaust quickly, because we've got a big hole in it that needs fixing. So it's not even really one hole, it's kind of many little holes. This is very difficult to show you. Well, you know, it's not that difficult. Look, so you can see, come on, focus, don't do this to me. There's kind of lots of little holes. There's one there, here. It's basically this entire pipe is rotted out from the actual silencer bit all the way down the tailpipe to the end. So it's just about to go. Now, what happens is with an emissions test, when they do this in the inspection centre, is they get an exhaust probe and they're going to shove it up there, run the engine, and then measure the emissions, right? What happens, because it's got holes in it all the way along there, is that it just gives an inaccurate reading, and the exhaust tends to suck in oxygen, and so it tells the sensor the wrong readings, and it probably won't pass the emissions test. Now, I don't know how far up they put the probe. I'm guessing it probably only goes up to about here. So I think we've got 3 options the way I see it. Hello. So really, obviously, it needs a new, let me sit up, why am I laying down? It needs a new back box on it. I'm having trouble sourcing a back box. No one seems to be able to get me one in any kind of reasonable time. I've had a look online, there's none of it. It's like the only part for this car that's really hard to get, actually. There are a couple of new ones on eBay, but they're in Poland, so they wouldn't come until probably the new year. I don't have that long to wait. I will put a new exhaust on it, but I just need to get this through its inspection first. So that leaves me with a couple of other options. One option, I think, might be to just lop it off there, just cut the whole thing off, this whole bit here, and then you'd have to shove the probe into the silencer and then kind of avoid any of that. That is not my preferred, it's not my preferred course of action. I think what I might try and do instead is gum it up. And what I mean by gum it up is use some of this. It's called gun gum. It's a repair bandage specifically for exhausts. Fixes small holes, suitable for use on straight or curved pipe. Problem solved. So basically you get this, it's just, yeah, it's a bandage. You wrap it around the exhaust and it goes hard and it warms up and dries properly, and then it seals any holes. So I think what I'm going to do is, if I clean off all of the rust from that exhaust, just a load of the surface stuff, wrap this around it, and it might just get us through the test, keep all those gases in so that all of the gases just make it to the probe, to the exhaust probe, and we get an accurate reading, and then buy the new exhaust that might come in a few weeks' time. This is my, this is the easiest, cheapest thing. This was like £3 or something like that I just picked up. You can get this stuff in wherever. I think I'm going to give that a go. So let's clear the rust off of that exhaust. Oh my word, it's bad. Now I've done that, it is bad. Oh, I don't think this tape is gonna do it. Holes are huge. Now I've taken that top layer of rust off. Okay, it was just hiding this. I have put zero effort into that, but so I just sanded it down, just trying to clean the surface to wrap tape around it, and all I did was just uncovered the fact that it quite literally wasn't being held on by anything, and I just pulled away now in my hand. I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing. So now you can see there's just a short stubby little bit before it goes into the silencer. So if I take this for its inspection now like this, they're going to put the probe in there, and I just don't know if that's good or bad. I don't know what to say now, because that's what we're dealing with. That is what we're dealing with. Oh, problems, always a problem. Also, look at this, look, it's being held on by by garden wire. It looks like the rubber mounts or the rubber hangers have disappeared a long time ago. The wheel on this side, now I've actually got a little bit of leverage on it. This wheel spins, so that is all four corners now not seized. This is amazing news. Okay, and then for the first time in years, we're going to get this car down on its wheels. Good to see that these seals haven't rotted out and that I can actually jack it up there. And I get 4 axle stands to add to the collection now that I can use on other stuff. Why does it look so funny? Because we're on bumpy ground, it's on an incline, and 3 of the tyres need air, desperately. Finally, it is so good to see this car down on its wheels like that. Right, we're going to talk about why there's such a massive gap here on the rear arch there between the wheel and the underside of the arch there. One of the reasons is that it's really low on that front because it's sat in a crater, but we're going to get onto this in a minute. But for now, I want to see if this car drives just forwards and backwards a little bit. This will be the first time I have ever driven on this car. And I am very, very excited. Woo-hoo-hoo! Oh no, we've got a light on. What's that? Oh no, it's the handbrake. Okay. Am I on the grass? Yes. The brakes work. I can't see anything. Oh my word, the car moves. Yes. Oh my word, that is so satisfying. Power steering works. Hang on, how do they do the wiper? Oh wow. Oh, it's all moisture on the inside. Okay, fair enough. Yes! Oh, that's so satisfying. It is unbelievable. Go and buy yourselves an old abandoned car, get some basic tools and bring it back to life on your driveway. If you're a car guy, there is honestly, hand on heart, nothing more satisfying than doing this. It's just the most satisfying thing. God, I love this car. What a cool car. That gap's gone down a bit, you see, because we've come out of that ditch. We'll talk about it. We will talk about it. Yeah. Right, I'm just cleaning all the moisture off of the inside of the glass here so I can try and see out, because what I would like to do is drive this car a little bit. Like, when I say a little bit, I mean up and down my driveway. Got quite a long driveway, so it'd be good to go up and down, test the brakes a bit more, try and get some of that corrosion off. Hey, windows work. Let's just try and get out of it. Anything out the back. Okay. Yes. Go on, squeeze through. Yep. Okay. Yeah, it's like a glove. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. What are we saying? Yeah, hard right. Oh, boys. Brake check. Hey, not bad. Brake check. Hey, not bad, you know. I can't see anything out the back. How fast can I go down my own driveway? Not very fast. Okay, and then so far I don't seem to have kind of any, you know, like ECU limitations, or I'm not seeing any evidence of a limp mode yet. Of course, I'm going to have to drive this on the road and get the revs up and see if it revs and properly changes gear. I'd like it to change gear on the driveway, to be honest. It really doesn't feel too bad. Right, so I'm just going to do this a few more times, I think. Just kind of drive it, maybe left foot brake a little bit. See what we can clear off the discs. Go fast, go. Shift. Nah, won't shift. Oh, it shifted, yes. I got it to shift into second. Just before careening off the end of the driveway. Great stuff. So look, just with that small amount of driving up and down, you can already see where it's taking that outer layer of rust off, and you're seeing some metal underneath. So, you know, by the time I get this to the workshop and over to the test station, oh look, the backs are even, the rears are even better. Look at that. Amazing stuff. Sorry, but is this just not one of the coolest cars in the world? It's going to look even cooler soon as well. Let's just talk very quickly about this. So you can see the car looks like it's raked downwards a bit like that. It looks lower at the front than it does at the back. And that's because I'm pretty sure It is lower at the front and higher on the back. Now, if I cast my mind back to what happened with this car, so firstly, what we need to know about this car is that this has been owned for probably 15 years, probably a little bit longer, by a succession of my friends. This car has been in our friend group for a very, very long time. And when my friend Tom, who was the first one of us to own this car, he bought this car. It was, the wheels were lovely, the suspension was proper, the bonnet wasn't like that, but it was lowered on all four corners and it looked mint. Then what happened, I think over time, was that one or more of the rear springs broke. One of the lads took the car to a regular garage because they were in a pinch, because I think it had to go through an MOT, and that garage had to fit not just one new spring, but obviously two new springs each side, and they just got normal springs, not lowering springs. And so on the back we have normal W124 Mercedes springs, and on the front is still the original lowering springs. I think what I need to do is I need to book the inspection now, get this there, and then have the inspection tell us how much further we need to go with this car to make it road legal. I can't wait for this to be back on the road properly. I love this car. I love this car. Look at it. So cool. So cool. Needs better wheels on it, of course. Guess who's going to be really happy about this? I'm not even being sarcastic. She is going to be delighted. Wait till she finds out that I'm just going to park something else here. Okay, it's about 7:30 a.m. I got my MOT test today, now-ish. Oh, why thank you, sir. And I'm going to take this car straight out on the road now. And the first drive of this car is going to have to be pretty much during rush hour traffic, which isn't, which isn't the greatest thing. My anxiety levels are through the roof because obviously the first drive of a car like this you want to be doing, really, you want to be doing on quieter roads, but I don't really have any option other than to just jam this on the road now and see how it goes. I do have headlights and brake lights and indicators and all that jazz that I worked out before, but I've just put the fan on face. After the dust, I put it on face. I wanted it on screen. How do I get it on the screen? Ah. So sorry. The face vents are on and it comes straight out at me. Why won't you go on the screen? Ah. First time on the road since about 2022. Right, what I really need it to do is to actually shift gears properly. Alright, it's 3000 RPM. Second gear. Fantastic. My word, it's so busy out. You're going to change gear again, please? Yep. Okay, third gear. This is great news. And now, really, just we've got that's the heater making that squeaking noise, the fan. Now, just slow and steady up to the garage. Doesn't feel too bad actually. I mean, I've done quarter of a mile. Shush. How do I stop that? Okay, stop. Quarter of a mile. Can't hear any knocks or banging from the suspension or anything just yet. Plenty of time for that. So, I mean, the car is kind of like driving normally, the engine, so this whole needing to code the ECU thing in, I'm just not sure if that's a thing. Doesn't seem to be in any kind of limp mode. Temperatures coming up. the old coolant temperature. Massive great bin lorry on a tiny road. Still no lights on the dash or anything like that. Hey, this isn't too bad at all. This isn't too bad at all. Hey, this is quite a nice car to drive. It's not sporty in any way, shape or form, to be honest with you. But I think this is the kind of car you could quite happily do some fairly long miles in. Wouldn't mind getting this on the motorway and just kind of cruising. Brakes are performing just fine, to be honest with you. I can't even feel any juddering or anything like that under braking. That's nice. Gear changes are a little clunky, I'll give it that. I imagine this gearbox needs a darn good seeing to, a good service, an oil change, filter. So does the engine. We've still got the same oil in it, same filter. I haven't serviced it, but all of that can come later. We just need to make sure this car's road legal to begin with. I also definitely need to go and get some more fuel. The indicator stalk is on the right hand side, which just keeps throwing me off as well. Everything is on one stalk on the right hand side. The windscreen wipers, the indicators, your full beam headlights, everything is just on one stalk on the right side. It's quite cool, I suppose, quite minimal. The other thing, if you're interested, is that the throttle pedal has a very, very long travel to it. There's a little bit of dead space at the top, which I can probably adjust out of it. But even still, it's just got a very long travel. Kind of, to me, further reinforces the fact that this isn't really a sporty car. It's not, there's not much throttle response. You don't want to drive. You don't feel like you want to drive this car hard. You do kind of just want to, sit back, get comfy, arm up like this. Oh no, we're going past police. That's why there's stop-start traffic. Oh great. This is where you get pulled. Hopefully they're preoccupied with whatever is going on there, and they're not going to see this piece of junk drive past with no MOT. Fiat 500 that has been seized by police. Massive great sticker on it. It says seized by police. Some naughty young lady. Okay, let's get some fuel in her. Okay, and hopefully that'll have the... Oh, how come the little guy didn't give me my seatbelt? That'll have the added benefit of just further diluting any kind of crud that was left in the tank. Key. And so the indicator stalk is on the right and the key is on the left. Just keeps throwing me. Where have I... Excuse me. Pardon me. Right, look, we are here. And that was completely uneventful, which is exactly the way that you want it. You do not want that drive to be eventful. What a relief as well. What a relief. Right, and there we go. She's gone in for a test here, just my neighbour's cars. And if you've been watching this channel for any amount of time, that these are the OG guys. I've been bringing my cars for MOTs here. Well, between these guys and John Tinham. Been bringing my cars here all the time. Highly recommend these guys. Can't say any nice enough things about them. But we'll see exactly how this pans out. I have got absolutely no idea how it's going to go. The car's been off the road for a couple of years. Sometimes I get surprised and I'm like, oh my word, it did really... And other times it's just way worse than you could ever imagine. We'll find out the results soon enough. Right, it is now a few days later. The car did not pass. To be expected, really. I wasn't expecting this to just sail through, not after it had been sitting the way it was, looking the way it was. But because this is not a Bentley Turbo R. The list isn't too extreme. In fact, I can't believe how good this list actually is. Two things that I really want to note before I just very quickly discuss this. Firstly, the brakes. Remember, I know a load of you were looking at those brakes and you were saying, there's not a hope in hell. No way. Well, the brakes passed all of their various tests with flying colours. Brake efficiency, they're not too worn, pitted or scored or seriously weakened or anything like that. None of the calipers are binding, the discs aren't fluctuating. Those discs just passed a really rigorous inspection, and the pads and the calipers. I told you, you'd be amazed at what happens when you just drive the car a little bit. Not to say I won't do them, but they're all right. The other thing, the exhaust itself is fine. Snapping that end bit off was absolutely the best decision that we could have made, because he just put the probe into the silencer part and it was great. The car, however, did not pass emissions. Not because of that, but we'll get onto the emissions part in a bit. Because what I really want to attack is what I think is the biggest part, and that is the car has it's got a snapped front spring. So you can see it just there. Look, massive, great snap, a clean snap. So this coil spring needs to be replaced, and I don't know how this is going to go, but what I've got is a spring compressor tool. So there's this thing here. There's this plate that I've got to try and slot in the bottom there. You can see I've already got one of the plates at the top. So this is a spring compressor tool. It's a different kind than you might be used to. A lot of spring compressors, they go on the outside of springs and then you wind them in, one on this side, one on the other side, and they're just external and they compress the spring. On these cars, you have to do it with this internal spring. So this goes up the bottom, up there, grabs onto this top plate, grabs onto the bottom plate, and then you screw this, and then it pulls the whole thing down like that. Now this is just, I bought this on Amazon. It was a next day delivery thing. It wasn't very expensive. I think it was about £50. And you can see over there, I've bought new coil spring. It's sitting there ready to go in. And let me just address one big obvious thing that I know all of you are asking. You are outside your workshop with a fully functional 2-post lift, and you appear to be doing this on the floor outside. Yes, and the reason is because so far we've done everything on the floor, on the driveway at home, and now on the driveway outside the workshop. I get lots of messages from people, and even people that I've met at car shows in real life, come up to me and they always say, oh, I'm really glad that I've seen your videos of you not doing stuff in the workshop as well, because it's given me a bit of confidence to be able to work on my car at home on the driveway. And so I just want to kind of keep it going. I want to see if we can do this here on the driveway, because if I can, it means that this is DIY friendly. This whole video, there's nothing I've done here that you couldn't do without a load of facilities. Now, if it comes to it, I absolutely will get this car on the lift. In fact, John Tinham, my neighbour, just looked at what I was doing and said, you're going to want to put that on the lift. But let's see first. Let's see if I can't get this spring off here on the ground. And if you can see the 911 up on the lift in air, don't worry, there's nothing wrong with the 911. It's just up in the air because I parked this car underneath it. It's just for a bit of extra space. Right, okay. Let's see if I can get this bottom plate in here. It's actually going to be a bit trickier because of the fact that the spring is snapped, and so it doesn't quite go in very well. This is prime lift work, but I'm committed. Yeah, interesting. comes. Delightful. Look, there's the snap bit of spring right there. Okay, so there's the new spring compressed. I'm very much hoping it just slots back in there with ease, especially because the lower arm is still detached from the shock as well, giving me more space. Ah, yes. Okay. Okay, ladies and gents, there it is. The spring is installed. Delightful. Had a little bit of trouble getting the plate out of the top. I just needed a bit of wiggling because the gap had closed up quite a bit, but I gave it a little bit of a wiggle here and there, and it came out. Oh yeah, properly chuffed that that's in. Very happy that's in, and just goes to show you can do this on your driveway. Okay, so what I think I need to do next is get the wheel back on, get the car down on the ground, and then I need to do the other side. I know it was only this side that was broken, but remember this car has been lowered and I've just fitted a standard spring on this side, so that is now the only corner that's lowered. I think the best thing to do is to is to fit a new spring to there. So let's get that done. Boys, just made a fantastic discovery that's going to save me a load of work. When you do coil springs, you should always, it's best practice to always do the other side on the axle. That's why I bought 2 springs. Look, if you don't believe me, look, here's the other one. It's still sealed in the box. So I bought 2 springs, fully intending to do 2 springs, right? But you know what, I was talking about all of that earlier. I was like, oh, this car's been lowered and that's why it's raked down like that. Well, talks out, I was talking complete nonsense, because now that I've fitted the new spring to this, you can see obviously it's definitely higher and the car has way less of a rake to it. But this would have been collapsed like that, obviously, because the spring was broken. I thought, oh, it was lowered, because the car definitely was lowered. I do know that from my friends. That was down low, but it was only because of the snap spring. So, look at that. Look at the gap, look at the gap, look at the gap, look at the gap, look at the gap. And now look at this other side. It's the same. So this car definitely does not have lowering springs on it. Now, I just said, but you're supposed to change both springs. Yes, I know you are, but I've got a loads more suspension work to do to this car. In fact, I'm probably at some point going to strip all of the suspension off. So right now, all I'm trying to say is a long-winded way of saying I don't need to do this side. I've fixed that side. I don't need to do this side if it's all coming apart again. That's amazing. That's amazing. So yeah, the car's not lowered. The car is absolutely not lowered. So that was just me being silly because this side had a snap spring on it. Okay, this is amazing news. Yes. Really didn't want to have to do it again. Right, well, let's move on to the next flipping job then, mate. Alright, so one of the other small little things that the car failed on is that the direction indicators in the front are the incorrect colour. And it's not so much that they're the incorrect colour, or whatever they technically call it, it's more the fact that the bulb, look, it all starts perishing and all the colour comes off of the bulb. So you can see on this side, so what's happened on this side, as I was doing the coil spring, I was taking a break and I leant on this side, and the lens has fallen off. You will have noticed obviously from earlier on in the video, this one had also fallen off, and I've taped that back on. So I'm going to have to do the same here, but you can see I've already put a new indicator bulb in there, and if you see the difference between the two, it's the exact same bulb. So I just need to do that to this side. I mean, luckily I've got a quick release system really, which is how I'm viewing this. I'll obviously work out a solution to this, and I'm not bothered about putting tape on the wing, on the paint, because look, again, there's just lacquer peel everywhere. The car needs full paint. But look at this, look. quick release. Yeah, look, that one is not okay either. So let's just change that quick. Any good? Any good? Ah, perfect. Next job. Oh no, actually, I'll have to tape this lens on there as well for the time being, and then get it fix it properly. I'll basically just do the same. I don't think you even need this on to pass the inspection, if I'm honest with you. The outer lens, I think you just need that bulb to be working properly. Right, next job. Okay, and then the next issue, a major defect. Exhaust carbon monoxide content after second fast oil exceeds manufacturer's specified limits. So there's too much carbon monoxide basically coming out of the exhaust. There's a few things that could be, but having asked a few of these guys around here and doing some Google-eyeing, I have come to the realisation. What am I trying to say? That's not the word. Stop trying to say something clever. Just say the word. Say. I don't know what I'm thinking. What's going on? What am I trying to say? The car didn't pass emissions, and after talking to a few of these guys and doing some Google-eyeing, I think that's what I'm trying. What's going on? There's a few things that could be preventing this car from passing the emissions. The catalytic converter could be bad, which I'm very, very much hoping it's not the cat that's bad, because who knows how much a replacement is, who knows if I can get one, who knows how long it would take if I could. But more likely is the fact that because this car's just been sitting for so long, it basically just needs the cobwebs blowing out of it. Now, the MOT test centre is there. It's quite literally 20 metres away, and so it's entirely possible that the car just wasn't warm enough for the cat to warm up to start catalysing stuff efficiently. That's entirely possible, but because it's been sitting as well, it might even just be spark plugs. The spark plugs are old. I don't know how old they are. There's still traces of old fuel in the system. So here is what I'm going to do. I've got 4 new spark plugs. They don't look new, but they are. I actually bought these about 3 years ago when I first got the car. So it's lovely to save a bit of money. I remembered I had them. They are brand new. Bosch spark plugs. I'm going to fit 4 new spark plugs. I also, when I was at the parts store, there was just this on the shelf, and it literally says on it, reduces emissions and helps pass your MOT. We'll see about that. It's just a fuel and exhaust system cleaner that you pour it in your fuel tank. So now what you can do, of course, is just take this car for a blast, blow all the cobwebs out of it, but the car isn't road legal, so I don't have that option. So I think what I'm going to do, well, let's fit these spark plugs and I'll show you exactly what I'm thinking of doing. So, doesn't look too bad to be honest, but it's going to look a lot better in a second because it's going to get replaced with this. Nothing really to report home about, but we'll see what happens. Snake oil, I think, some of this stuff, but we'll see. Because I can't drive it on the road, it's not legal. If you don't know what that is, this car is so gentlemanly, it passes you your seatbelt with this thing that's a little bit broken. Passes you your seatbelt, look, and then you plug it in and then it retracts back. And if you're not used to it, it can scare the living daylights out of you when you get in the car and you just see something in your periphery creeping into view. You're like, ah. So all I can really do is let the car idle for a good long while, bring it up to temperature, and then also just give it full beans like this for a while. Blow the cobwebs out, as they say. But at least I know the spark plugs work. I'll get back to revving the nuts off of it in a minute and making a nuisance of myself. But we need to get back in here because I want to look at this washer pump. Now, when you activate the washer pump, nothing happens at all. Well, the windscreen wiper works, but I can't hear any buzzing or anything from the motor. So I am wondering if it may have if it's just packed up, or maybe it's a fuse, or maybe it's an electrical problem. I need to just get in here and take a look at the connector, I think, first. See if we've got power. So it's down here. I've got the connector off, and you can see kind of recessed in there, that's the washer pump there. And then also worth noting as well that you can see the ground there. This was actually just an advisory on the inspection, but that tray that sits underneath this washer fluid bottle has basically rotted out. But because it's not near anything kind of structural, it's not a kind of dangerous defect. If it was up here, you know, near the suspension turret or something like that, it would be bad. But it's just an advisory, so that will need fixing. But for now, I've got my plug off, so I think this is what I'm going to do. So if I just hook up my multimeter into, just basically kind of into the plugs, and then activate the washer jet. Turn the ignition on. Yes, I'm getting 12 volts when I push the stalk and hold it in. There you go, it's getting 12 volts. So we're getting 12 volts up to the pump. Okay, this is what it looks like. So it's just two prongs there. I imagine a little motor inside. Look, it's still the genuine original Mercedes one. So maybe it just needs, I can guarantee that's not what it needs, but I've got a little power probe there, but come back to that. I don't believe it. Do you hear that? It just needed a bash. Oh, no way. No way did that just need bashing on the car. Merry Christmas to me. Hang on, let's fit it back in. I can't believe that. That never happens. When does that ever happen? Oh no. Yes! Yes! Come on! Yes! What a result. What a result. You just needed to tap it. Must have just got a bit seized up from sitting for so long. Come on. Right, so this car is now ready to go back for its retest. But if you think this is just going to be plain sailing now because you saw me tick a load of those things off the list, then you couldn't be more wrong. I just had an issue with my Bentley Turbo R. If you've seen the video, you know what happens. If not, watch it after this one. We put loads and loads of work into that car, loads of money. It went through its inspection, it failed. I then spent loads more time and money rectifying those failures, only for it to go back again and it still not pass. So the thing that I'm really worried about in this car is that, yeah, I chucked a load of fuel cleaner in there, new spark plugs, and in a minute I'm going to sit here and just rev the nuts off of it for a while. Apart from that, there's no guarantee whatsoever that this car will pass its emissions. If it doesn't pass, then this whole thing is just it's not even worth thinking about, and I'm getting anxiety now just thinking about this. This car has to pass. Come on, please, after the Bentley, don't do me like that. there's nothing for it now. I'm going to rev this thing till Kingdom Come. I'm going to send it for its retest and just pray and hope and cross everything that it just passes. Please, 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 come on. Needless to say, the old girl passed the inspection and she's now almost unbelievably, she's now road legal. Oh, I cannot tell you how good that feels, especially coming off of the back of the woes with the Bentley video. Oh, it's so good to end the year with a really big win. Now look, this car still needs a lot of work. I think we all realise that. Apart from the fact she is road legal, I think you'd still say the car is clapped out, right? It needs loads of mechanical stuff, body work, wheels and tyres properly sorting, the interior needs going through. This is going to be a long project. It's going to be a reoccurring project on the channel. I don't think anything about this is going to be quick. Don't be fooled into thinking that it is. Ladies and gents, thank you ever so much for all of your support. Remember, go out, buy yourself a clapped out old Merc, bring it back to life on your driveway. It's so rewarding. Thanks for all your support this year in 2025. Please do consider buying a ticket for the 9/11. It genuinely helps keep the lights on, keeps all these projects going. Thank you ever so much. I now have a roadworthy Mercedes W124. Get in. See you later. Look at that, look, I clearly missed a massive patch when I was jet washing the car. Will I clean that soon? Probably not.